100 nights, no rest, no break. Dreams on my mind, but my hands still ache. Bands in the safe, cash on the low. Build it from the ground, watch the empire grow. Empty fridge, now the table stacked. Used to pray for change, now I'm counting racks. The grind don't stop, no pause, no wait. Bands in the safe, that's my fate.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're enjoying your bank holiday weekend, having a good one. No trading today, no trading on the bank holidays. Low volume environments are not good for trading in. Even if you could have made money, doesn't matter. It was lucky, basically. And it's one of those things where you just learn over time that sometimes it's just better to sit out and wait for the better environment than risk it in the less optimal environment. Especially when you've got a volume-backed breakout strategy like what we're using with Delta Breaks. Speaking of which, let's just dive straight in and go and have a look. Not that there's anything to really look at today because we didn't trade. However, I've got a few things I can show you and I do want to point out. So, of course, bank holiday, no trading today. However, I went into New York, Asia, and London, and I turned off the no trading on bank holidays. See, there it is. There's the toggle for it. Turned off. So we can actually have a look at what it would have done if you were trading. And Asia, unsurprisingly to me, had a pretty red evening with a low win rate. Doesn't surprise me. London, yeah, absolutely shit the bed. No trades whatsoever. No winning trades whatsoever. Straight to loss. Max loss. Did nothing, basically. Perfect examples of why you don't trade low volume environments. The overnight session is low volume enough as it is, but we kind of account for that with the settings. On a bank holiday, there's nothing there. Absolutely nothing there. And we've got this enormous, this big blue bar down at the bottom here. Enormous 600 tick volume gap, which of course is made up by my volume gaps indicator, which you can find in the analysis pack along with all the others that I've got fired up for you. We're going to have a look at them in a second because I've got a few things I can point out. But yeah, you can see big loss on Asia, even bigger loss, max loss in fact, on London and New York. Funnily enough, New York didn't do too badly. Let's go have a quick look because you can see here's the power of what Delta Breaks is capable of in those right when the price action just kind of goes in your favor. You see we got into this buy here and it just ripped all the way up and it didn't pull it out until this down move here. And same, we got into two sells here and it pulled all the way down to here. Absolutely incredible. So New York could have been good. However, look at the numbers. It's still a $900 loss on the day. These sort of environments are not worth trading. You can see we left a huge gap at the bottom, at the top there, 4 ticks wide, so that will get filled. It's right below this yellow line is 30,000. It doesn't surprise me in the least that we didn't reach it today. I would have been amazed if we did. We're not going to reach a significant milestone number like 30,000 on a bank holiday. We're just not going to. Absolutely not. That's why they have this brick wall lined up here at the top. And you can see that the fibs indicator, again, the fibs and all the other indicators can be found in the analysis pack, links in the description. We bounce from one fib to the other. And these fibs are drawn at 5 a.m. every day for you, fully automated. And we can see we bounced from one, went straight down to the other, had this absolutely FU candle right in the middle of the day. So anyone who was trading just got absolutely wrecked. And it pulled back down and bounced off. I mean, look at the closes. Let's zoom in. Look at the closes. Right on the fib. Pull back to the fib, push up, straight back down to the fib, right? These low volume days are just not worth trading. However, there is a perfect fib setup here. Again, not your optimal environment, but I'll point it out because there's a really, really good, almost a textbook version here. Look. So the way I say to trade fibs is at the fib levels, you can use some basic ICT concepts. So you see how we've got this fair value gap right over the fib level. We have another, so that's a bearish fair value gap. Let me draw it out for you, make it a bit easier. So there is a bearish fair value gap, right? It gets inverted and flips bullish. Awesome. Love to see it. There is a bigger bullish fair value gap over the fib level as well. These two levels stacking up, that can either be your entry or the bullish fair value gap here can be your entry. And look at that, you would have been in the long. Again, I wouldn't have traded this, but this idea on any normal day Fibs that overlap with inversion fair value gaps and fair value gaps are excellent trading scenarios. There we go. So you could have done it to there, or you could have done it to the candle that formed the FVG. If you want to be a little bit closer with it, you could have targeted new highs. You could have looked up here. Where did we go? We went all the way up to probably the imbalance. Yeah, we did. So you could have gone. You could have gone to these double highs. Actually, it would have been these relatively equal highs just there. You could have gone to them if you really wanted to be aggressive. You could also go to the bearish fair value gap that's there, and you could have targeted, because with a lot of these fair value gaps, the way ICT kind of explains them is not really what's going on. But the idea is they're imbalances that want to be settled. So you could target the absolute top of a bearish fair value gap like that. So that's what I would have done. That's what I would have done in this scenario. I wouldn't have gone for this level here, even though it could have. You know what? I say that. I probably would have, because we got this fair value gap, this volume gap at the top. This volume gap is far more significant to me than a fair value gap, ICT concept wise. But look, we didn't touch it. So I would have gotten pulled out at some point with my trailing on the way down. But you could have, let's say you did. Let's say you targeted there, 66 points. Pretty small range for the day. But that's an example of how you use the fib indicator. And fibs is phenomenal. When you just let the setups form for you, they present all the time. And there's some other things I wanted to show you as well. I'm going to go out to the hourly real quick. Just a quick little minute. So there's the fibs for the day. We bounce between these top two fibs. What I've also got on my chart down here, I'm just going to mute fibs for a quick second. You see this volume gap here? That I expect to be filled out. We got another one down here from Wednesday last week. 11 ticks. And this is on the hourly chart. The higher time frame volume gaps are significant. So we've definitely got some key levels. And you notice this one. Weekly point of control. This comes from my profile indicator. And this is usually, I usually have it turned off because I don't necessarily use it all that much, but I always have it on for the weekly point of control. And there's a whole section of it down at the bottom. And it's a volume profile indicator that automatically changes what time frame you're looking at depending on what chart time frame you're looking at. So it'll always show you the next level up to what you're seeing, which is really useful when it changes for you. And I love it. But the reason I built this indicator is because I always want to know where the previous week's point of controls are, because they get hit. They are premium, absolute phenomenal targets for liquidity. So this level, I absolutely expect in the future this level to get hit. And if you look at this, look at the week before last. In last week, look where we came down to. Not an accident, guys. Not an accident. This level was drawn from the Monday of the previous week. It was there for 7 trading days before price finally pulled back and hit it. You see this level when this week started? We went up, hit the level, reversed. Hit this level, reversed. Now we pushed up. I expect we might just come straight down. From 30k, we might hit 30k once and then come back straight back down. Fill the gap. I bet you a bunch of people are going to buy this gap. Going, oh yeah, gap will fill and then it will reverse and it'll actually just continue down. It'll go to the weekly point of control. It might even come down to this volume gap because 11 ticks is pretty significant, especially on the hourly chart. So I do expect we've got a bit of a pullback coming. I don't know if we'll hit 30k first or not. I have no clue. We've built up a nice liquidity level there, so we could pull back now, come back, clear out these levels and continue ripping up higher, because I have a sneaky feeling we've actually already seen a slightly early daily cycle low. Let me zoom out a little bit. I think this right here. Here you go. You see I've already updated my my cycle indicator. I think this was the previous cycle low. Let me pull that one over here, if I get it on the right thing. Let's pull these over. Let's put it there. So this was the previous cycle low. I think we just had a cycle low on the 18th. Ever so slightly early, but within the tolerable time. And it was incredibly right translated, which is a bullish sign for the next cycle. So the next cycle is going to go all the way out to, and it says actually in the label, I don't know if you guys can read that or not. The next cycle low is due from the 7th of July through to the 17th of July. So middle of July, around about July OPEX time. So we've got plenty of weeks before we have to worry about it. And this yellow line, this vertical yellow line, is the midpoint. What I'm going to be looking at now is, do we form a peak of this cycle? Is it going to form on the left side or is it going to form on the right side? And a big on happy face. that is one of the key things you'll track in cycle theory is left translated, which is a bearish sign, or right translated, like we just had, which is a bullish sign. So we've got bullish cycles happening right now. We might be going to some absolutely insane blow off top figures here. 6 months ago, for the last 2 years, I've been expecting SPX to reach 7,500. 72 to 7,500 was my target, and we've hit it, and we're showing no signs of stopping. So that old adage of a market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, that is in play. Do not try and be the next Michael Burry and short the top of this market, because Michael Burry is not a good trader. He almost blew up his fund getting a trade that happened to be right, but he doesn't know why he was right. If he knew anything about the 18.6 year land cycle, he would have known he was 3 years early. He's not a good trader. I like the guy. The Big Short is a great film made about him. It's kind of cool seeing his little cameo moment in it. Sure, that's all fun, but he's not a good trader. Anyway, getting back on track, we've got some crazy shit going on in the market right now. And for now, I'm interested to see what happens. Do we make a new high on the left side of this yellow line, which is the 16th of June? And if we break this level, let me get rid of the 30k because we didn't hit it today. So I'll leave that on there. If we make a peak and we break this level, as soon as we break that level, we know we've got a top in for this current cycle. If it's on the left side, we've got a bearish summer for the rest of the year, and that's probably the beginning of the significant turn down. You know what? I'm not counting on it. I have a feeling this is just going to keep going and just get hotter and hotter for a while yet. And whatever's going to happen is going to happen towards the end of the year, in like sometime in September, maybe October. That's when I think things will actually finally start to break. Even if it starts rolling over, this is just a guess, we could do something like this, right? Oh no, aliens. Oh no, they're invading. Oh no, we need a one world government or we're all screwed, guys. We're screwed. You know, some bullshit like that, right? Wouldn't be surprised at this point. I would not be surprised. I've been waiting for the aliens for about 6 years at this point. So anyway, get your tinfoils out another day. You know, maybe we'll do that conversation at some point. But for now, let's go back down to the intraday stuff and actually have a look at what I was going to show you today. I kind of gone off on a big old tangent, haven't I? Here we go. We have levels to the downside, and we could go and get them. Absolutely, we have the 30k just above us. I wouldn't be surprised if we pull back before we go get it. And let me clear up that. There we go, and we'll give Delta Breaks a quick moment to load up, because yeah, the short version was we don't trade bank holidays. We have a volume-backed breakout strategy, and when there's low volume in the market, you don't want to be trading it because you can't rely on the breakouts to be any good. That's why Asia and London had a really bad look today. Look, you can see the sells got reversed on, the buys got reversed on, the sells got reversed on. Yeah, we got one buy, a couple buys in here, sure, but this buy up here got reversed on because there's no follow through. Even here, look, sell, terrible, everything, every one of these. Actually, this one this was the last. Okay, so yeah, so this trade here was the final trade for Asia, and then we have two sells that get reversed on, we have two buys that get reversed on, and just like that, you're at max loss for London, and it does nothing else. All right. The fact that we had a nice big push up and a nice big clean push down was how we were able to get a couple of trades in on New York that didn't pull back enough to hit the trailing stop loss for the day. So New York by chance happened to have a good session, but I assure you it was luck. I would never trade a bank holiday like this. But anyway, let's go and quickly just have a look at the results, because if anyone who is new here are the results, and you can see we didn't trade a bank holiday earlier in the month, and we didn't trade the bank holiday later in the month. Any other bank holidays coming up, we won't trade them. Nice and simple. And this is the final week of the settings for these May results. If you watched my last video over the weekend, we are doing a slight optimization and update to the strategy starting in June from next week. I will mention this in every video for the rest of this week, because from tomorrow, I'm going to be showing you two sets of results. The current settings that we're looking at here, we're going to carry on and just finish out the month of May. And then from June well, actually from tomorrow, moving onwards, we will look at the new settings and how they did, and we'll compare the two. The new settings are a little bit slower, a little bit less risk, and a little bit smoother overall. But that's the idea. You can see in here, we had some really big losses. Now, admittedly, this was before we introduced the daily trailing stop loss feature, which when it's made some money, it'll hold on to the money and it won't let the end of the session give it all back, which was what was happening around here. So the reason these red days all stopped and we started getting big green days was because of this feature, and it's done wonders since. So I'm expecting June to be much smoother results, much more reliable results, much safer for our prop firm accounts, and much more smoother and a lot more consistent, which ultimately is the goal in all of this. So despite these numbers being really, really good for a YouTube thumbnail and shit like that, having a good results for a YouTube video like this is not my goal. My goal is to have a system that we can all rely on, trades and makes monies and gets payouts from the various prop firms that we all trade. So anyway, moving on. What I'm going to show you right now is we're going to go to the dev bench because, ta-da, I've been working today on the dual orb system. I think it's nearly ready. Now, dual orb has the same thing. It doesn't trade bank holidays, but for today, I've turned it off and I was doing some testing and I figured out the last few little bits and everything seems to be working. What you've got NQ on the left side, which is the left side of the table, and you've got ES on the right side. And the indicator, you don't need to have both open like this. You can have it, like, see how it's got the results. The dashboard is the same in both indicators. It'll load the version on whatever chart you're looking at, but you don't need, I can turn that off, right? I'm still trading, and this indicator will still trade ES even if I'm looking on the NQ chart. But today I was doing some testing, so I had them both up. So yeah, let's look at both of them. We got lucky on both sides today by like super slim margins, and this is another example. Despite today having good results, they were extremely lucky, and I would not trade, and we don't trade the orb system either in bank holidays for the same reason. There's no follow through in the breakouts and there's no volume to support the moves we're looking at. But you can see NQ had its order here on the top side and it caught it, and I think it's 5 points from the top. Yeah, 5 points from the top. So that's real close to being reversed on and having a loss. And ES is a different orb entirely, and it was super close. So it was confirmed here. Price pulled back and entered here. Went down, went break even. Here, around about the bottom of this candle, middle of this candle, and we hit price target there. And the low was 1/4 of a point away. So it was 1/4 of a point, or let's say 1/2 a point, because it would have had to not reach it. It was 1/2 a point away from being stopped out 10 minutes later on. This absolute gargantuan rip candle. Look at that. Absolutely huge. Anyone who was short got wiped out. Anyone. That's why you don't trade low volume environments, because moves like that can happen. And you might get lucky and be on the side of it. You might have it rip your head off too. Simply don't bother with it. Just wait for a good environment. But anyway, I wanted to show you this because this system is probably going to be released in June. And in June, we'll be looking at multiple different things. So here on the dev bench, I have a plan so that every day we're going to come into the dev bench and we're not going to be looking at orb. Orb is going to be part of the daily results. We're going to run both systems side by side. And we'll see how they do, because something I preach is about having more than one system, not having all your eggs in one basket. So we're going to have Delta Breaks on one side running its own prop firms, and we're going to have Dual Orb running a different prop firm with its own settings. Because you can't have cross-account trades within the same prop firm, so it's just simpler to just have one prop firm be one system and another prop firm be another system. And Dual Orb will be similar to like Delta Breaks. It has its own strategy built around it. I'll give you a lot more information than just the indicator. You get a small little course with it telling you how to set everything up. Dual Orb is much simpler system overall, and it's been getting some really, really good results, really reliable results. And there is a strategy on how to get through the eval stage fast and how to get reliable payouts at a slower pace once you've got funded accounts. And that's all explained in the course that we'll look at, another time when it's all released. And that brings me to the last thing I want to point out. I currently have a discount running for everything. Dual Orb is not part of it yet because it's not been released. And that discount, 40% off everything, it ends at the end of this coming week, end of next weekend. In June, there will be no more discounts. So if you've been on the fence, if you've been watching for a little while and you're not sure, the time to get in is now. And for those of you who already have Delta Breaks, if you want to pick up Dual Orb as well, send me a message. I'm going to have a specific discount of 50% of Dual Orb for you guys. Specifically, if for anyone who already has Delta Breaks, you get a 50% discount of Dual Orb as well. And that's for Delta Breaks customers only. So, but that's something we'll come back to that another time. For now, that's pretty much it for what I wanted to show you today. So there we go, folks. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of a review on the whole bank holiday volume, why we don't trade them, because, man, even the Orb trades, they were real close to being 2 losses in a row today. And of course, Asia and London were losses. That's why we don't trade them. Wait for when there's volume in the markets. Speaking of which, I will be firing this thing back up tonight. I am trading, so I'm not trading the new strategy just yet. The new strategy is smaller risk, but it trades all 3 sessions every single day. Nice and simple. I am currently trading Asia and New York only. I'm not trading London on the current settings, and I will be finishing out this week on them. And at the end of this week, we're going to look at the settings. So we're going to look at the results every single day, as we do. And throughout the week, we'll both look at the current settings, finish out May, and look at the new settings. And we'll be up and running with those new settings in June. In June, every day when we go into the dev bench, I already have some ideas on how we can optimize the new settings further with an entirely new feature that I've been looking into. I've been reading up on some financial white papers that were put out about volatility managed portfolios and the impact of volatility trading, or volatility targeting, I should say. Two papers that I'm wondering if there's a nice dynamic sizing update we could do to Delta Breaks. The Dual Orb already does this, so I'm wondering if I can figure out a way to do this in Delta Breaks. I'm unsure. We'll see what I can come up with. You never know. I've got some ideas, and that's what we'll be testing throughout June. I'm going to make lots of tests, and we'll look at that. Anyway, enough rambling for now. It's going to be easier for me just to show it to you when the time comes. But let's finish out May first. And with that being said, that's it for today. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you in the next video. And until then, have a good night. Bye.
Yeah. Now it's home like a battle cry. Circuit spark